Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're talking about two new tropical disturbances in the Atlantic. Now, before we get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now, I'd also like to invite you to join our very exciting Discord server, where I'm also personally very active in as well. I'd love to see you there. Now, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you think that either of these storms will develop into tropical storms, or just one of them? And if so, which one? Or do you think both will develop into tropical storms? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Now, we're taking a look at the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook here, and you can see there's two, what we call code lemon, the two yellow areas there, and that's 40% or under chance of development within the next 5 days. So there's more odds than not that each one of these individually will not develop. You can see there's one there offshore of the east coast, and then we have our second one there in the middle of our main development region, heading towards potentially some areas like Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti. We're just going to need to see where this one goes as time moves on, or if it even develops, because it might not, of course. Out of these two, one of them does have a chance within the next 48 hours, and it's this one here in the middle of the main development region. You can see that yellow X. That indicates that there's about a 10% chance that we do see this one develop in the next 2 days, the next 48 hours. But both of them have a 20% chance of developing within the next 5 days. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at that European model probability of tropical depression and then probability of tropical storm afterwards as well.
I'm going to make the Argentine chimichurri steak. Very excited to see what
If I go with you, if Mama doesn't come.
Alright, now first off, we're taking a look at our probability of tropical depression. We're only going to look at this one here offshore of the east coast, and I'll tell you why. I looked at the one in the main development region, and this one only has a 10% chance of tropical depression status for the one in the main development region, so we're not going to talk that much about that one in this video. We're mostly going to be talking about this one because, well, the European model is definitely on board. In our kind of purplish shade, which is the first one, we see 10 to 20%. In our bluish shade, that's where we see 20 to 30%. The two green shades indicates 30 to 50%. The yellow to oranges is 50 to 70. And then there's kind of the deeper orange there offshore of North Carolina is 80 to 90% chance within the next 3 days that we see a tropical depression form there. So this model is extremely confident that we will see this one further develop very shortly, actually. And it's very confident that we will see a tropical depression. Now, again, for that other disturbance that's in our main development region, we only have about a 10 to 20%. We only have that purple shade showing up. So as of right now, this model is not on board with that one whatsoever. So I didn't even feel like showing it. I thought I could probably just tell you guys that with no need to really show it. So we might talk about that one on a future video. We might even update these multiple times. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with these. Anyway, we're about to move on to the next 2 to 5 days, so a little bit further in the outlook, and take a look at the probability of tropical depression on that frame.
You'll receive 2 empty podiums to play now.
And here we are taking a look at that, and as you can see, we have still those oranges around. Again, this is for days 2 through 5, which is going to be Tuesday through Friday. So we're still going to have very high probabilities of at least a tropical depression forming offshore of North Carolina there, and it kind of expands that area a little bit more vertically. So we are going to have a pretty big window for tropical development here offshore of our east coast of the United States. Alright, now also, let's take a look at that tropical storm probability, and this is also for days 2 through 5, because this is the peak, I guess, probability. And in that yellow shade there, offshore of Canada and maybe New England, very far offshore of New England, we see 50 to 60% chance. So they think there's about a 50% chance we see a tropical storm develop in the same region we just saw one develop just a few days ago. So this area has been really active. The East Coast has been really active so far in the early hurricane season. We are way ahead of schedule with most of these names. We're really digging into some of the middle portions of these alphabet names, and it's very untypical to see this early on. I mean, last year in September, we were about where we're at right now, and last year was considered an active season. So, I mean, we are way ahead of schedule. This season is almost certainly going to be way more active than typical unless something drastic changes really quickly, because as of right now, it seems very definitive that we're looking at a very extreme season here, as I've been saying all year. There is some signs that maybe it's not going to be quite as bad as we originally thought, and I'm going to talk a lot about that throughout the later portion of this video. So actually what we're going to do is we are going to move on, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the GFS model and see if it has either of these storms developing, and then we're going to take a look back at our sea surface temperatures and show you guys what's going on with all of those oscillations. Alright, now first things first, we're going to look at that GFS model, and this is our 850 millibar geopotential height cyclonic vorticity. And really, all we are taking a look at here is looking for those red areas. That's where a lot of rotation is happening. And there, if you look offshore, well offshore of the Mid-Atlantic and New England states, you can see there is some reds, and that's basically by Tuesday here, Tuesday morning, June 30th. That's our little bit of a tropical disturbance, and as of right now, I would say this one maximum, the GFS maximum has this one developing into a tropical depression. No more than that, I would say, for that one. And then let's move on that frame, and we're going to move to Wednesday morning, and what we're going to do is we're going to zoom out because you can see both of our disturbances from this view. We see our one there to the kind of northeast of Puerto Rico. We can see a red area there kind of in the middle of the Atlantic. That's our first tropical disturbance, and our second one offshore of the east coast there. You can see this to the south of Newfoundland and all of those areas. So yeah, I don't think that one's going to hit Canada. And also our one in the middle of the Atlantic, it looks like, if I'm looking correctly at the wind patterns here, that it would curve northward and out to sea very far offshore of the east coast. So I think we're safe from both of these ones from a U.S. impact. Obviously, it's a little early to say, and we really could see these ones do many different things. But as of right now, I feel pretty confident that we won't see either of these make a direct impact with the United States. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at some of those oscillations. Like I said, we're going to take a look at the temperature graph for the El Nino, La Nina region. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at our main development, our Caribbean, and our Gulf of Mexico. And then we're also going to take a look at the map of the sea surface temperatures, and then we even have a graphical forecast for both of our tropical disturbances at the very end of this video. All right, now here we are taking a look at our Nino 3.4 index, and this is how we measure the La Nina or El Nino, and take a look at that. It is really struggling to reach La Nina status. We're very far down in late May, but now it's kind of crept back up towards neutral status. We're basically at 0.0, which means exactly neutral on the ENSO. So we're going to need to really see this one go back negative. Otherwise, we might not really see that big of a La Nina. It might start heading back towards neutral or El Nino territory. I'm very confident that we will see this one go back negative, at least for a while, but probabilities are increasing that we will see a fall and winter that is a neutral ENSO, which is way different than a La Nina. There's lots of interesting things going on in the climate weather world, and it's like a plot twist. It's like a movie unraveling itself here. So lots of exciting things going on, and I hope that you continue. And if you haven't subscribed already, I hope you do, because, I mean, we are going to be just unraveling this as time moves on together. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Now, also, here's our main development region, and this one was very far positive as of middle of June. It's dove down towards neutral. And this would be another sign that kind of leads us more toward thinking maybe an average hurricane season. Not really, but I mean, we're already so ahead of schedule, it seems like it's going to be an active season overall either way. Here's the Caribbean. Again, this one was very far above normal, and it's really dove down towards negative. All of these values have quickly shifted. And then here's the Gulf of Mexico that's been trending negative ever since April. It was very far above normal then, and our Gulf of Mexico is near normal. Although in our hurricane forecast, we were forecasting this one to be normal, around normal temperatures anyway. So this is pretty much on par with what we were expecting. However, the Caribbean has really cooled down, and so has the main development region, and our La Nina is not cooperating at all. So we're really just going to need to update you guys on what's going on with that as time moves on. Here's our 7-day change map, and all you need to know is this is basically how the temperatures have changed over the past 7 days. You can see that actually our La Nina region there is tons of reds showing up, meaning it has warmed up significantly over the last 7 days, and most of our Caribbean, Gulf, and main development region has cooled significantly over the past 7 days. So we're going to need things to really turn around, otherwise this season might not be as bad as we thought. Although, it still looks to be very active compared to normal because we're already so ahead of schedule that it's almost guaranteed to be above normal activity. It's not going to take a lot to get us into that territory, but the hyperactive season, on par with 2005, this is going to need to turn around for us to reach statuses like that. So we will just wait and see, and I can't wait to track that with you guys. All right, now here's our first graphical outlook here for our first tropical disturbance. As you can see, over the next 7 days, we expect it to stay offshore of the east coast of the United States, maybe reaching very close to the Atlantic coast of Canada, but more likely than not, it'll be pretty far offshore there. It should stay within our red cone here over the next 7 days here. All right, now here is our second tropical disturbance, and this one's for the Atlantic. We've made a bigger cone with this one because there's a lot more uncertainty with this one, actually, according to models. So we're keeping it pretty broad, but it could go as far south as hitting some of the Virgin Islands and possibly Puerto Rico, or it could be as far north as heading directly for Bermuda. So that's a big cone. Again, this one should stay within this cone within the next 7 days. However, this one's going to be moving a lot faster than our other one, and possibly we could see some pretty big development over the next 2 days even. So again, we might need to update all of this quite shortly. I don't really know yet, but we will see in the coming days if we do make future videos for this one. Now, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how many severe thunderstorm warnings have you had this year? And Fun Songs said, I think I had 5 to 7 severe thunderstorm warnings in Maryland where I live. And that's really interesting because that's a lot more than most of the people who commented had, so I think you had some of the most out of anybody. Here in Virginia, we have not had a lot of